Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk about, kind of dive into my estrangement from my biological family. I was, I have two parents. My father's passed away a number of years ago. My mom's still alive, living in my childhood home. I have three sisters and a myriad of cousins, first, second, thirds, aunts, and uncles, and all that. And I've talked about my own estrangement from my mother in the past. And I thought about this today, and I remember not being as connected to my mom as I was to other women, my grandmothers and the neighbor ladies and all that. And it took me a while and to realize why it was. So, to give a little bit of background, my mom came from a family of eight. She was the oldest. She was dubbed very early on the Black Cloud by her siblings. Why? Because when she was around, usually gloom and doom and a lot of negativity, things like that. But in digging deeper, I thought about possibly the link, the DNA. And I remember my maternal grandfather, my mom's dad, um, was very harsh. If it fell outside of the Catholic Church, you were basically blacklisted and thrown out of his Garden of Eden. He was very close to my first husband. I got divorced. My grandfather didn't accept it. I kind of, I would go kiss him. He'd turn his face from me. I say to my grandmother, I'd really love to come over. No, your grandpa's not really comfortable with that. And okay, so there was a number of years I didn't go see my grandmother at the house unless there was a family party. But even then, it was very uncomfortable. He said things that were very racist, um, was not kind to the people in the family that got divorced. It was his way or the highway, and it was so tough that when I got divorced, I felt so incredibly guilty. I probably had stayed married because of my family. Um, that when I went to the bedside of my grandfather when he was passing away in the hospital, I actually cried and apologized to him that I had disappointed him. And so moving on to my mom, um, she's very, very critical. Gossip, um, she would say very negative things about very kind people. If someone shared a secret with her, she would share it with other people. Um, I remember I didn't really hear a lot of words of affirmation when I was a little girl. It's just the way it was. And I remember I'd gone through a really tough period in my life. I had lost, I think, my dad, my job, my kids. Financially, it was a struggle. And so I thought my mom had two extra bedrooms. Maybe I could stay with her and we could rebuild our relationship and possibly, come to a happy median. And I got there. I had to go work part time, went to school and all that. And I remember getting ready for Harley Fest, and I was looking pretty cute. And she says, "Where are you going?" And I told her, and she says, "Well, you have nothing." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" She goes, "You don't have a retirement account, you don't have a house, you don't have anything saved for your future." And I said, "Well, I do have something. I have my mind, my heart, my spirit, my soul, and I'll be okay." And so it's pretty tough. Um, when I disconnected from my mom the last time, I said, in order for us to have a relationship, I need to know if you have a question about me, you talk to me and not to other people. And I also need you to be honest with me about everything. And within 6 months, I knew she had lied about my younger sister coming and staying with my youngest daughter and her family. Because I asked my mom, "Where is so and so staying?" And she said, "Oh, she named something, but she wouldn't tell me." And then come to find out, she was asking other people questions about something that had gone down in our family that had to do with me. And then again, I opened the door and I said, I heard XYZ, and she never ever broached the topic with me. And so I said, without trust, there is no relationship. And so that's what happened. And so what I did, instead of turning negative, I take all of everything I've ever learned and everything I've experienced, and I say, even though I was treated this way, I'm going to do the opposite. And I'm going to hold secrets. I'm going to be kind, and I'm going to say nice things to people. And so when you're dealing with someone who's critical or unkind, you do the opposite. You make this world a better place. It's almost like they're negative, you're positive. That evens each other out. But then, you can plant flowers everywhere you go and spread sunshine. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share. I'm not perfect. I know my mom's not perfect, but sometimes as adults, even the people that raised us or that we lived in the same home with, sometimes we just lead different lives and have different paths. So I do pray for everyone. I wish them well. I forgave my mom. I'm not angry at anyone, but that's why I'm disconnected. So anyways, that's all I wanted to share. I hope this helps, and I will be back.